So we take a step back 47 years ago, where Kuma was born with his happy family. I'm gonna try to take a look at my boy. Look how adorable he was, man. The little Kuma. Anywho, we cut to Kuma dad talking to this doctor, and Kuma dad was concerned about Kuma blood, because if they found out about Kuma being a buccaneer, he's gonna get cooked. So the doctor tells him, don't worry about it, I won't tell anybody. After that, Kuma dad makes his way back to the crib, while Kuma adorable self just over here laughing. They were just having a great time. We get these two beautiful and unexpected eye catchers, and I gotta say, the animators, they took their time out to cook, because y'all can't lie, these are wholesome. I love it, man, I love it. We cut 4 years later after Kuma birth, and as you can see, my boy grew up a little. He was getting ready to help his fam out with cooking and cleaning, but before he even got the chance to even do that, we seen that same doctor that told Kuma dad that everything was gonna be alright hitting a dash towards where they live at, and once he made it there, he told them to leave. Clap. That's Kuma dad's name, by the way. He was like, what do you mean? And the doctor tells him that the government minions came to the hospital, and you know what this nigga kept saying? I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Shut your bitch ass up, nigga. We know what you did, nigga.
He couldn't even keep his word, bro. That's crazy. He done opt on his own mans. Kuma and his family was in a terrible situation. They wasn't even trying to chit chat for real. Kuma dad asked them what do they want, and it was like, bruh, you already know what we want. Y'all coming with us. Kuma dad tried his best to put up a fight, but it just wasn't enough. So he tries another way by telling them that he's the only one that has buccaneer blood. And then he starts crying, telling them to let go his kid and his wife. But we all know full well that ain't happening. Next, we cut to this sad scene, and what makes this scene so sad is because Kuma has no clue what's really going on for real. Like, look at that innocent smile on his face as he just playing with the shackles. And what makes it worse, we not even to the saddest part yet. And next, we watch Kuma and his family just separate right in front of his eyes. Kuma mom telling him to live life no matter how hard it gets, as she just crying, and Kuma dad tells him to stay strong. We will meet again. It's so heartbreaking to see Kuma and his family just split up. We then cut to these bitch ass celestial dragons using a 4 years old as a slave, bro. Like, these motherfuckers is sick as hell, bro. They are so sick, especially this one right here, bro. He didn't even give Kuma no time to breathe. What you mean, hurry up? And on top of that, he started beating him with the whip. I felt so bad for Kuma, man. He do not deserve this. But it gets even worse. He tells him, stop crying or I will kill you. What? You know what? Let me just move on. After a while, we see Kuma crying a little bit more, but he ended up noticing his dad. He ran right towards him with the concern of his injuries, but the dad was like, don't worry about it, it's nothing. Also, I can't help but to notice the dude in the background just mean mugging. I know he pissed as hell that he have this chain on his neck, but besides all of that, Kuma dad tells Kuma that he grown so much, and he asks him is he's okay. But Kuma responds back by telling him, yeah man, my master is good, bro. He's very kind to me. But we all know full well that he's anything but that. After that, Kuma asks how his mom is doing, and she ain't doing too good. In fact, she's dead. She's dead as hell. He tells Kuma she should be in heaven by now. In fact, he was like, he thinks she's better off that way. And the fact that he's saying that while he having all of these tears like this, you know that they was giving him hell. And I'm not gonna even say nothing. I'm gonna just let y'all feel the emotions that came from this man Kuma, bro. Whoever did his voice, y'all did a good job. Man's poured his heart out in that cry. He was in the studio like he actually lost somebody dear to him. Can we give him a round of applause, please, real quick? Kuma was wondering if he was better off dead too, but that's when his dad was like, nah. One day, the sun god Nika will come save you, and he will free you from all of this. He tells him it's a name of a legendary warrior that has been passed down for generations. He tells him how Nika always laughing and smiling and stuff. He even hits the same move that Nika be doing, bro. My boy out here just moving and grooving. And just like that, Kuma dad died right in front of his eyes. We fast forward 38 years ago at God Valley, and it seems that these celestial dragons decided to do a local hunt competition. And by the way, this island possesses rich natural resources. So basically how this gonna work, they're planning on doing a hunt against these humans. Like they're gonna be hunting these humans down and killing them. And the more you kill, the more points you get. Like y'all see how corrupted and evil these guys are. Like you see why nobody likes them, and they just smiling with these big ass smiles on their face. Like, oh bro, like I really hope one day something happened to these celestial dragons, like they all get wiped out. I know it's probably not gonna happen, but I would love to see that. By the way, this is the king of this island. He was pissed, as he should be, because they are using his own people as a sport. They wasn't messing with what bro was talking about, so this man got instant death by no other than Saint Garland. And they was glazing this man too. Even the celestial dragon females was glazing this man. I won't lie though, bro do have aura. But correct me if I'm wrong, but ain't bro supposed to have red hair, or I'm tripping? Let me know in the comments. While they was too busy glazing him, Kuma took the opportunity to escape. So they told the other slave to go after him. And once they finally caught up to him, they started beating on him, telling him to come back. Because if he don't, then they all gonna die. So you see, Kuma was like, if I go back, I'ma die anyway, so y'all might as well just kill me. But that's when the twist happened. Young Ivanka and Bonney mom asked them, do they want to die or do they want to live? And they was like, is that possible?
Please, I need this. I haven't seen my dad in years.
Ivankov tells them they can work out a miracle, and Ginny tells them if they follow them, they'll have a great plan for them. Ivankov was like, I don't know about y'all, but I choose life. So the celestial dragons actually start this sick game of theirs and was giving these people a head start. But as you can see, they was running with fear in their heart, because I mean, who wouldn't be? By the way, dude over here was telling them if they can get a one-hit kill, they will earn an excellent bonus. But not only that, they will also win a fine prize. Ooh, I wonder what this is. Garland and the others was taking this game very seriously, but apparently not more serious than these crooked celestial dragons, because they already started shooting at these people when they didn't even supposed to yet. These motherfuckers don't know how to do nothing right, but besides sit around and be pampered like big ass grown babies. You like that? You like that? But I guess that didn't really too much matter, because these motherfuckers don't give a damn any damn ways. By the way, Saturn, yes nigga, we see the fit. Speaking of Saturn, he had his eyes set on Kuma, while Ivankov was telling Kuma, get fired up bro, we gonna find a way out of this. I don't know who they think we are, but we are not no NPC. And while they was getting all fired up about that, we cut to the Navy headquarters, and one of the Marines was telling young Garp to go to God Valley. By the way, I forgot this dude's name, so if y'all can kindly drop it in the comments, that would be nice, thank you. But yeah, he was like, please Garp, I'm gonna need you to go to God Valley. I can't tell you why, but I'm gonna need you to go there. And young Garp was like, nah, you can suck it for all I care. Nah, he didn't say that, but he did tell him, isn't that the celestial dragon school trip? Hey, I told you not to mess with them crooked ass motherfuckers. Besides, it's treasure from Pirate Island. Of course they'll come and take it back. As we just seeing young Garp just enjoying the view with these young ladies. I bet Garp was getting hella hoes when he was young back then. Shit, I'm pretty sure he still pull some right now at the age he is, if he really wanted to. But let me not get off topic. The other dude was like, I don't even know how that information got leaked. Pay attention now, because we find out who did that later on. Young Garp was like, you got your eye on them too much. Why are you scared? And that's when he tells him Roger would be involved. Once he said that, young Garp got up immediately and tells him, I'm going now. Young Garp is moving like, when that one friend get on the game, you just have to hop on as well, because you already know it's about to be fun. But they wasn't the only one who was there. Even the rock pirates tagged along. We had my boy Young Newgate, aka Whitebeard, Young Stussy, Young Gloriosa, and I'm not gonna lie bro, how you go from this to this? She aged so terrible. Oh my god. We even had the Mr. Crab of One Piece himself, Shiki the Golden Lion. Also, you can't forget about Lan, aka Big Mom. She was so fucking bad back then. Oh my god. Like, you also, how do you go from this to this? Like, oh my god. But I ain't gonna lie, she got an excuse. She let a lot of men run through her. But yeah, we not gonna talk about that. And last but not least, young Kaido. My boy was tough. And pretty much they all was after the same thing everything everybody else that was on that island was out there, which was the treasure. Oh, but we can't forget about young Roger, young Rayleigh, and young Gabon. The resemblance is just so uncanny. But hear me out though, we all know that Ace looked like a young Roger. But what if I told y'all a young Roger also looked like Yami? Like, y'all can't tell me they don't look exactly the same. And what makes this even more crazy, older Roger looked like Yowahaba, or however you say his name, from Bleach. So you telling me Roger just out here going to different animes without letting us know? Bro out here moving like Zoro. But yeah, while everybody else was doing their thing, the Holy Knights had to pull back to protect the Celestial Dragons. But not only that, Garp pulled up so quick, bro. Like, this is actually insane. Doing his famous pose too. And you already know what he was after. Roger. We also can't forget about Kuma and them. As Kuma and the others continues to run, they finally make it to a spot where they can actually sort out their plan. So with that being said, Ivankov was like, look at all of those Navy ships. I never seen that many in my life. Obviously no one can get off this island.
You're done.
They out here making a game of murder just for them to remove the locals from the island and take their natural resources. And he goes to tell them we will be dead in 3 weeks when this competition is over. Are we actually in hell? Dude over here talking about some,
If we just survive in 3 weeks, we'll be okay.
but Ivankov was like,
Man, shut your bitch ass up, nigga. Nobody asked you that a bitch ass thing. You better shut the fuck up before I knock your fucking head off your shoulders, old ugly ass bitch.
you really believe that? Yeah, you're stupid. If you have hope, run for your life. Killing people who sit in despair is no fun for them. Stop dreaming of surviving this shitty ass game. Instead, we gotta escape the game itself. Well said, Ivankov. Well said. After that, this fisherman took a bout out of everybody's handcuffs so everybody can move around freely. Ivankov thanks him and tells him how good his jaw was. Pause on that. The fisherman thanks Ivankov because he was like he never got a compliment like that before. But besides all of that, Ginny was manipulating information to the Navy and the pirates. But it was strange because none of them took action yet, and she was trying to figure out why that was the case. After all, the prizes to this competition is the key to their escape, and both of the prizes are devil fruits. One of them allow you to turn into a mythical dragon, and the other one enables its users to send others and themselves flying into a distant island. So what this means is if one of them could get their hands on this, they'll be in a good spot. This runner was like, that's impossible. The prizes are at the center of the island. They will kill us before we even get a chance. But little did they know Ginny is a professional at even wiretapping and transmissions. Remember I told y'all to pay attention about that leaked information that we got? Well yeah, she was the one that did that 2 weeks ago. Soon enough, the pirates will be flooding this island, and of course we already know who those pirates were. That's not going to be enough to pull off the operation. She was like, they gonna need a decoy. So that's when Kuma steps in and say he'll be the decoy. He was like, I'm a bigger target, and on top of that, he just don't want to see nobody else die. And Ivankov was like, alright, bet. Don't worry, Kuma, you ain't gonna die. We cut ahead, and while all of the ruckus was going on, both Kuma and Ivankov actually found the treasures that they was looking for. Leyland pulls up out of nowhere and takes one of them. So Ivankov tells Kuma to eat the one that he have, and eventually he does. Although he eventually runs into Saturn, he tells him his life is to be a slave and die.
Somebody like you deserves to be hit in the street by a fucking moving bus.
It has been decided by the course of history. Yo, old coon, are you important? There's no point in being born if you're gonna be a slave from birth. Like literally, Kuma, talk to him, let him know. Also, Kuma was like, if I got some type of power like Nika, I want to save as many of these poor people as possible. Saturn's response to this was,
It's people like your ass that doesn't deserve to live. You deserve to be destroyed. You're on Earth for literally no fucking reason. You deserve to die. Your soul does not deserve to be on this planet.
that's why your people need to be eliminated. Because he wants to save people and not let them suffer? Yeah, okay. The God Valley incident will fade into the dark shadows of history, which he was not lying because they ain't show us shit. Afterwards, we cut to where Kuma used to live at. Ivankov was reading the newspaper, and yeah, it turns out they really didn't tell us nothing that happened in God Valley. Ivankov tell Kuma that's enough praying, but Kuma was like he wish he could have saved more people. Don't worry about that, you saved 500 people from that chaos. Stand proud, Kuma. You have the hands of liberation. But eventually Ivanka ended up setting sail and leaving him. Both Kuma and Ginny bid him a farewell, and after that Ginny was like, since I'm older, I gotta feed you. We cut ahead and she tries cutting wood, but she wasn't really good at it, so Kuma had to show her the ropes. She even gives him a little nickname, Kumachi. She tells Kuma no scavenging or stealing. That's earn money and buy food. Later on we get these two kids asking Kuma how old he is. I'm 9, but considering the fact how big Kuma is, they didn't believe him, so they started treating him bad for him being big. Like what? But Ginny wasn't rocking with that, so she started beating their ass. Kuma ended up making her stop, and then he heals their wounds. After that, they started to take a liking to him, and from that point on, they was friends. Cut to both Kuma and Ginny just eating and having a good time. I'm not gonna lie, it was nice seeing this because they both had a rough time. Ginny asked Kuma, when did you become a slave? He tells her when he was 4, and she was like, me too, with a big ass smile on her face. Kuma tells her it's not something you say so cheerfully. She kept repeating that she's full, and obviously it was the reason why she kept doing that. I'm pretty sure she haven't felt like this in a while. She even started crying, and yeah, I get it. While she was crying, Kuma was having a daydream about the future that could have been possible with his family, which started making him cry as well. Ooh, it touched my soul though. I ain't gonna lie. It hit the soul, man. We time skip 8 years after the God Valley incident. I still can't believe Oda trolled us like that, bro. But it's all good. As long as he show us later on down the line, I'll take that. But anywho, we now see that Kuma is a pastor at 17 years old. And I find that very fitting for him because why? He grew up in the church. I mean, it makes sense. Kuma always wanted to make people happy. And one of those ways was helping these old people with their back pain. Kuma was like, F all of those pain pills, I got y'all. All y'all need is just one little tap and y'all good. But you see, these old cougars was getting a bit too ahead of themselves. This old dude was talking about some,
Hey Kuma, can you do this for us on a weekdays?
because if y'all didn't know, Kuma only does his treatment to them on Sundays. So if you ask me, they was getting a bit too greedy. So that's why Ginny stepped in and was like, oh hell nah, y'all not about to be using my boy Kuma like that. But I guess it's not really their fault because they don't know what happened behind closed doors after he used that ability on them. But we'll get to that when we get to that. For now, let's just continue. So Ginny was like, no, just Sundays. And these old people were just making fun of her, talking about some, you're so mean, Ginny, just laughing at her and all that. And then they started teasing her, telling her that how she liked Kuma and stuff. She was over here blushing and shit. And given the fact that Ginny is now my age around this time, I could confidently say she's a baddie.
Approved!
But let's forget about all of that for a second. But as these old cougars was laughing, tell me why I found out that Muriel is actually in One Piece, bro. Y'all can't tell me this doesn't look like her for real. Where Courage at? Or better yet, where the grandpa at that be like, you stupid dog, you made me look bad. Anywho, let me stop fucking around. We later cut to Ginny crying because she knows what Kuma goes through after he heals these people. Where y'all think all of that pain go? I mean, we already know somebody has to take that pain. Like for example, we all know what happened to Zoro when he took Luffy pain on Thriller Bark. Y'all know one of the most greatest moments that Zoro had. Like, if I'm not mistaken, ain't bro died from that, but his soul got lost, so he just went back into his body? Something that only Zoro can do. So seeing the fact that Kuma was putting himself through that same harsh treatment, you can see why Ginny was sad and was so defensive about him doing this. Because at the end of the day, he's the one that's really going through the most pain. But speaking of pain, I forgot to mention to y'all that they have this new king called Bakori, and they say he's a cold and heartless person. But not only that, the reason why they always came to Kuma to get healed and stuff, because if they fall ill and can't pay that tribute, they will get locked up, or better yet, become slaves. And look how old these people are. They shouldn't even be working. So that tells you he really is a cold-hearted person, and ugly as hell too. Okay, cool, now y'all know all of that. Once Kuma was done resting from the pain he had to endure, we see both Kuma and Ginny enjoying their food together. But I'm not gonna lie, somebody hand my boy Kuma a bigger sandwich than that, because he gonna need way more than that to fill him up. Pause.
You always getting full. What the hell are you talking about, bruh? Bro, what the fuck is you even talking about, bruh?
Next, we time skip ahead again, and this time Kuma is 22 now, and we still see that both him and Ginny is still having a good time together. Both of them just going to enjoy some coffee and just chilling. But as they was just chilling, Ginny decided to make a big step and ask Kuma, do he want to get married? And you see, Kuma would be very delighted to get married with her. But the thing is, he just doesn't want history to repeat itself. Let's just say both of them have a child. That child is going to have Buccaneer blood. And with that being the case, do I really gotta say the rest? We all know what happened. And besides all of that, Kuma doesn't want Ginny to go through all of that. That's the reason why he said, I don't want you to be unhappy. But of course, with Ginny not being able to understand the situation, that led her to be unhappy. Kuma changed the subject and ends up talking about the freedom fighters. To put it into short terms, they are a group of people that just helps out people that's in need. And Kuma admired them for that, especially Dragon. He even said one day he want to devote his life and try to do the same thing. Basically, he wants to save as many people as possible, just like Nika. Then a few seconds later, some of Kuma's friends pulled up. Y'all know those little kids that was peeking at Kuma? Yes, that's them when they all grown up. And I'm not gonna lie, I'ma just keep it real, they chop as hell. Also, these the same people that was a part of Bonney crew. Crazy, huh? But besides all of that, they came here to bring my boy Kuma some food. Kuma thanks them, and then Ginny throws a basket at Kuma's head. And I really don't have to say the reason why she did that. You can just tell by the way she's looking. Next, we time skip 3 more years, and now Kuma is 25. But Kuma's age right now is the least of our concern. Y'all know those old people that Kuma used to just help out all the time? They have now been kidnapped. And for some reason, the king ended up changing a law, which allowed these royal guards to be able to use these people from the south however they see fit. Doesn't that sound crazy? You best believe Kuma was pissed, because he didn't want to see these innocent people get turned into slaves. He already went through it as a kid, so he was getting ready to crash out on them. And honestly, this is probably the first time we ever even saw Kuma get this angry, so you already know shit about to pop off. With that being said, Kuma started attacking them, giving them the work. I don't know what they thought they was gonna do, but I guess people can dream, right? Once Kuma took most of them out, I'm gonna kill you. But that right there was the worst thing you could say to him. Look at Kuma's face, he just furious. Kuma begins to make this huge paw, everything like that one episode from SpongeBob, and then after that he hits them with a almighty push. Chat, y'all know what this means, right? Never mess with the quiet guy. You see, messing with the quiet guy can always lead up into something you don't want to be into. Why, you ask? Even though nobody asked me to explain this, I'll tell you why. Quiet guys just be chill as fuck. They really don't be doing nothing for real. They really just be in their own world. But as soon as you piss them off, they become a whole completely different person that you made them out to be. So moral of the story, just leave the quiet people alone. Look at me trying to be all inspirational and shit. But anyways, we cut to Bakori, or however you say this ugly ass nigga name. And basically his plan was to just cut off the south side of the country and only focus on the north. He see the south side as dead weight, and he feel if he does this, this will make them rich in the long run. Next, after we cut to the prison cell that Kuma went in, and when he walked in, he noticed Ginny and the others was there as well. It turns out they end up running amok as well. They also couldn't just stand there and watch people suffer. And as you can see, they was very happy about what they did. So W them for stepping in for the people. Kuma was still furious about this situation though. He was like, just because you're living in the south, you will be enslaved. This country is turning into a place where poor people has to suffer harsh discrimination. Ginny tells Kuma that Bakori is just a celestial dragon puppet, and they was the one that gave him the idea to even do this. It's always something with the celestial dragons, huh? Y'all already know how much I can't stand them. But eventually the freedom fighters started to run amok, and they was deep as hell. They was out here shooting everybody that needs to be shot. Dude open the door, talk about some, Your Majesty, pow 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 pow. He's down. Like I'm telling you, they wasn't wasting no time. Once they did that, they surrounded the king with the pole in his face and swords. They was not playing with bro. It also turns out that Vegapunk is a part of the freedom fighters, and my boy was like, I ain't letting you escape, you stupid celestial dragon wannabe. Speaking of Dragon was with him as well. Now thanks to them, Sorbet Kingdom is in good hands. After that, Vegapunk and Dragon pulls up on Kuma and Ginny, and with them not seeing Vegapunk for a long time, you best believe they was happy to see her. I was just about to say her, but then again, it's a she, him. So does it really matter? Also, this was Kuma's first time seeing Dragon. So when he seen him, you best believe he was shocked. But besides all of that, Ivankov was like, are you still the same person you were before? If so, come join us. Kuma didn't waste no time to accept that invitation. And wherever Kuma goes, you know Ginny gon' follow. The freedom fighters who transformed people angry at the government into protesters decided to take up arms in response to the advent of the pirate era and the tragedy of Ora, or however you said, bruh. I be fucking up on how to say that. Now adding Kuma into the mix, they finally made it into the Revolutionary Army, which will become infamous throughout the world. We later on cut to Dragon and the others, and basically Dragon was telling them they gonna train people that wish to join and show them how to use weapons and fight. It was like eventually he wanted to make a huge army that spread across the whole world. Kuma asked Dragon, how do you know how to use weapons? And Dragon's response to that was, I used to be in the Navy for a short time, which we all know that. I hope y'all know that. But it was like he couldn't find justice in the Navy. Kuma tells him, I'm with you to the end, Dragon. And Ginny also.
You won't regret this.
After that, Kuma visited his old home and he started talking to the old people again. He just wanted to visit them to make sure they was all good, because Kuma is just a kind guy like that. Look at the smile on all of their faces. They was just so happy to see my boy. The love is there. Next, after that, 8 more years passed and we cut to Ginny. She was very happy because she couldn't wait to meet back up with Kuma. But you see, somebody pulled up on them and they got caught off guard, leading them to kidnap Ginny. Once both Dragon and Kuma heard that news, they was shocked. But for Kuma, it hit the most. It's at the Revolutionary Army headquarters. And if we take a look inside, we see that everybody there is in shambles. Why? Because the rebels in Toomey are becoming outnumbered, which means they need backup. But you see, the thing with that is they won't be able to provide backup because they're carrying a lot of injured people from Goa Kingdom right now. Since that was the case, Kuma was like, you know what, I'll just go by myself. But Ivankov was like, nah, Kuma, you been reckless since that day, which that triggered something in Kuma's head, immediately making him take off. Once Kuma made landfall, he didn't waste no time at all. He started giving these motherfuckers the work. Although he was doing this, he wasn't in the right mind. He found out Ginny got kidnapped all because of a celestial dragon had his eyes on her and he wanted to make her his wife. If a celestial dragon wants you, they would travel to the ends of earth just to get you. That is crazy. And I'm pretty sure Ginny didn't want to have sex with the celestial dragon. So what you think he did? I'll let you answer that yourself. Also, the people that Ginny was with, it turns out they all got wiped out by an unexpected raid. So yeah, it wasn't looking good for them. Mind you, as Kuma fighting these people, he's not even thinking straight for real, because what happened to Ginny is all he could think about right now. Eventually, he finished it all off with an Urza shot, completely wiping them all out, which led to their victory. They all was celebrating, but Kuma felt nothing. Dragon, it's me. I'm tired. I'll take a ship home. 2 years has passed since then what happened to Ginny, and after those 2 years we see that Ginny is still alive, but unfortunately she's not doing well. Not only that, she also has a baby now, and that baby name is Bonney. By the way, I know y'all noticed all of these blue stones on Ginny. We'll get to that in a second, but for now let's continue. Ivankov rushes in and tells Kuma that they got a call from Ginny. Both Ivankov and Kuma tells her hi. She tells both of them hi back, but when she told Kuma specifically hi, you could tell something wasn't right. She tells him that she's back into the lower world. Both Ivankov and Kuma was relieved and happy that she was still alive. Eventually, that happiness would soon get turned into sadness. Ginny tells them that she got sick, which made them have no use for her and they discarded her, basically kicking her out. Kuma was like, sick? What you mean by that? Ginny tells him that she wanted to see all of them, but this is me just saying goodbye. Kuma tells Ginny, what are you talking about? I thought I would never see you again. Then he asks for her whereabouts. As Ginny drops to the ground, barely being able to speak, tells Kuma, I'm sorry. Kumachi, I'm dying. It won't be long. Once she said that, Kuma started bursting out crying, saying, why? I'll save you. I'll leave now. As the tears just keep coming, Ginny tells him, I appreciate your kindness, but don't ever come see me. Eventually, Kuma goes to the only place that he thinks she will be at. And as he was doing that, Ginny tells Ivankov to take care of him. But her last final breath, she say, Kumachi, I will always love you. As we see Kuma rushing to her side instantly. Look how quick he made it there. That devil fruit ain't no joke. But anyways, as he rushed to her side, it was already too late. The old people ends up filling in a blank telling us what happened to Ginny. So basically when Ginny gets exposed to natural light, her skin turns blue and hard like stone. Unfortunately, that's all we really know. As Kuma was holding Ginny, all he can do is reminisce about all of the good time he had with her, which triggered him to break down and start crying. Holy bro, I'm not gonna lie. I was fighting the tears back. I'm not gonna even hold y'all. If we talking about taking L's, that's all Kuma been doing. It's sad to say this, but his whole life just been a fat L with just a small bit of happiness. One of my main reasons of watching One Piece is because it makes me happy. But these past weeks has low-key been depressing, I'm not gonna cap. But not all hope is lost yet because Ginny leaves Kuma with something very precious. Bonney. Kuma will soon begin to raise her like a daughter of his own and make sure that she's always safe, like a father's supposed to do. It's easier said than done. He didn't even know how to feed her right at first, but eventually he started to get a hang of it. We next see little old Bonney crawling away while Kuma over here stressing. He took his eyes off her for a second, and before he even knew it, she was right here. As the days go by, Bonney begins to take her first steps, but not only her first steps, also her first word. I'm not gonna lie, this part actually had me smiling. Look at Kuma, so happy to be called that. Next they show us a flip book as the years go by, as we see Bonney gets older. Look how good of a father Kuma was. He made sure that she was sleeping good all the time and eating good, while also balancing it out with his work. We even get to see little Sabo for a second, but as time goes on, we notice that Bonney has that same blue stone that her mother had, which isn't a good sign. So that's why once Kuma noticed that, immediately he started boarding up the windows, shutting out any natural light that may come inside the church. Kuma's friends was asking him why he was doing all of that, but once he showed them Bonney, Mins was like, that's the same blue stone that killed Ginny. But before he could finish the sentence, Kuma was like, bro, shut up about that. Like, for real, you really gonna say that in front of Bonney's face? Like, that's crazy. Although she really don't know what's going on for real, but still. After that, Kuma friends ran to go get a doctor, but none of these doctors was on nothing for real. Dude really said, let's take her out and see. Like, is you trying to kill her? And this lady couldn't help her either, so yeah. Kuma ended up telling Dragon that he has to leave the Revolutionary Army. And Dragon was like, hey, you do you. We'll ask doctors around the world and see what they know about it. Some time has passed and now Bonney is 5 years old. Not only that, she's starting to build her own little personality now. Scaring these little kids away, mother like daughter. But they deserve it anyways because they was making fun of her, calling her a vampire and all of that stuff. We get this legendary middle finger scene that Toei left out. I feel like they could have added that. It wouldn't did no harm. But hey, it is what it is. They still was talking crap about her, so she kicked one of them and made them leave, which was well deserved. Afterwards, Kuma come rushing in word about Bonney because how close she is to the door. Bonney tells him he's just a chick and she was just joking around. Kuma was like, well, nah, don't do it even as a joke. Bonney was like, alright, I don't want to make you sad. After that, Kuma started hugging her and all of that. Bonney calls bro a crybaby. Ain't no way. We next got to little upset Bonney. And the reason why she was so upset is because those little kids was making fun of her because of the stones on her face. She asks Kuma, is it ugly? But it's a disease, so it's nothing she could do about it. Kuma tells her those are jewels. They just hating because they won them and they look beautiful. That's how she got the name Jewelry Bonney later on, if y'all didn't know that. But yeah, when Kuma said that, that made her smile. We got to nighttime and Kuma asks Bonney if she was well, where would she like to go? She tells him the Sky Island and shows him a book about it. She says Sky Island is closer to the sun, so maybe they'll see Nika there. That's something you can look forward to. That had Kuma thinking of Nika, which made him start doing a Nika dance. Not too long after, Bonney followed along. Later on, we got to this doctor telling Kuma that any type of natural light will cause this disease to spread. But that's not even the worst thing about it. Bonney won't even make it to see her 10th birthday. Yo, this man Kuma can't have shit. Y'all see what I mean now? Bonney ends up waking up and tells Kuma that she heard something about 10 years old. But that's good because that's the only thing she heard. Poor Kuma had to make up a lie to her and tell her that the doctor said that she gotta wait until she's 10 years old for the disease to get away. Wait, get away? Y'all get what I mean. Another year has passed and the same thing that was happening in the Sorbet Kingdom is happening again. This ugly fuck just don't learn. He said he will burn the people and drag down the country alive, with the Sorbet Kingdom going up into flames. And all of these innocent people are just trying to get up out of the fire. The citizens there were trying to help all of the injured get back to the church. And one of those citizens was Kuma. As you can see, he was trying his best to help every single body he can. These poor innocent people had to watch their houses get burned down down, all because Bakori bitch ass. So you best believe they had a lot of hate in their heart for him. This little girl started crying about her mommy. Once Kuma seen that, he couldn't bear it, so he wanted to go save her as he go dashing into the flames. Next we cut to Bakori long nose ass, and he wasn't really talking about nothing for real, but besides the fact that the country in the Far East has the same approach, and he said that it was successful. He also said that celestial dragon praised their town for being beautiful and free of garbage. For the sake of the people, the country, and the immense happiness of the population, we must be sometime ruthless and carry out the reforms. Yeah, buddy. Okay. Besides all of that, it was a bunch of protesters that gathered up at Bakori's front door because they didn't like what he was doing to the south. They was calling him murderer, telling him to stop, all of that. They just wasn't messing with it. Wanna know what Bakori allowed his guards to do? Yeah, mans do not give a fuck about his citizens at all. But little did he know he's about to pay dearly for what he has done, because Kuma couldn't take any more of this. And as you can see, he's in that crash out state, so he don't give a damn about anything right now. By anything, I mean by any consequences that comes his way. Look at this face, y'all. Does this look like somebody you would like to mess with? I don't think so. With that being said, Kuma went dashing towards them full speed ahead and knocked them out in one go. After that, Bakori was asking him, what do you want? Then proceeds to tell him, I'll give you all of the areas that I burned down. And to put the cherry on top, he said I got rid of all of the human garbage. With him saying that triggered something in Kuma, making him remember what happened to that little girl mother. She died. Bakori tried shooting at Kuma, but as you can see, none of those bullets was working. Kuma was so filled to the brim with rage, he had no choice but to let it all out. As he walks up to this so-called king, and gives him a paw full of his rage.
This incident will be known as the Solo Revolution of the Sorbet Kingdom.
We cut to Marie's wall, and it looks like the Sorbet Kingdom king has been replaced. And by who you may ask? Kuma himself. As you can see, everybody was so delighted to see that he was king. In fact, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have it any other way, given the fact that Kuma put his life on the line for them several times. Also, this shows you how humble Kuma is. Even though he was crowned as king, he still lived inside of his church. Kuma just a W all around, bro. Although he was king, he wasn't actually running the country. It was Bulldog. Kuma was just like the mascot to make everybody feel better, that's all. Anywho, the old people asked, where is Bonney? And Kuma was like, oh, she just over there just trying to exercise and get her stamina up and all that. But when he actually took a look at her, she caught him off guard because he thought that was Ginny. Because for one, how older she looked, and two, I mean, she looked exactly like her mom. While everybody was shocked and surprised, Bonney was just over here not realizing that her body grew, or matured, I should say, until she finally take a step in the mirror and sees for herself. And when she did, she was so shocked that she ended up turning back to her normal self. This also had Kuma passing out because he didn't know what the hell was going on. So eventually one of the old timers took a look at a book on devil fruits and realized it had to be the age fruit. But he was like, where did she get it? Who knows? Bonney tries using her powers, but she wasn't able to tap into it at will yet. Eventually someone knocks on the front door, and that someone was Bulldog, the king of Sorbet Kingdom 2 generations ago. And not only that, we had Connie, the queen of Dowager, his mother, by the way. Yeah, the person that Bonney disguised herself as at the revelry. It definitely gotta be a connection here somewhere, right? But besides all of that, I find it funny that they thought that was Bonney, while the whole time Bonney was over here just talking to Bulldog. Speaking of Bulldog, he has something very important to tell them. Well, Kuma specifically. So apparently the newspapers were saying that Kuma burned down the village and he took the throne with violence, which we all know that was a lie. This definitely screams Bakori, because who else would do this? And we know that the government is on his side. So yeah, he's definitely going to be coming back to try to take back the throne. In fact, they already have reports saying that warships is already being prepared, and for obvious reasons, these people did not want this man coming back. With Kuma knowing that he's going to take it upon himself to fight back and destroy every force he musters, Kuma already know that he'll be seen as a criminal and won't be able to step a foot back inside of the country. But guess what? He's going to do it anyways, because he's a W-mans. He told Bulldog once that happened, he wants him to take the throne. Also, he wants him to shelter Bonney as well, because he knows that the church will be in danger. So Bulldog tells him that he'll recreate the environment for her. After that, Kuma picks up Connie and tells her that he'll come back when he get the chance, so he tells her to be good, not knowing that that's not Bonney. Also, I want to know why their names sound so similar. Bonney, Connie. Kuma tells Bonney to listen to Bulldog and Connie. Bonney was sad though because she didn't want to see her father go. To protect you and everyone in this country, I must go. Bonney hugs Kuma. Then we next see Kuma on sea saying that you got some nerve coming back here. But Cory had 3 big ass warships ready for Kuma. But Kuma wasn't phased at all. But Cory started calling Kuma a tyrant and everything. That's how Kuma later on get the title as Kuma the Tyrant. Anywho, Kuma didn't waste no time. This man hops up in the air and creates like this big massive machine gun. That's what it looked like, I ain't gonna lie. As they just standing there having no choice but to get cooked. By the way, y'all can't tell me bro ain't looking like this. He's fried. Not only that, look at Kuma's face. He's not playing no games. But yeah, he one-shots them with no problem at all.
Naturally, after sinking all of the ships and fleeing to the sea, Kuma was placed on the wanted list as a pirate. His numerous notorious deeds and his strength drove up his bounty.
After that, we cut to Connie and Bonney. Connie made some food for Bonney, but Bonney didn't care about none of that because she missed her dad. Connie tells her that her dad is a hero, but Bonney was like, I don't care, he's my dad. Bonney yells out when she become 10, she gonna become a pirate too. From then on, Kuma traveled all across the world just to save Bonney from that disease. Like seriously, he was going everywhere. But I want y'all to peep that all of the places that he went at is where he sent all of the straw hats at. But anyways, he started asking around, did they know about the disease that she had? But they didn't know. He moved on to the next island and he see these 2 people that later on joins Luffy Alliance. Like what the hell they doing here, bruh? Kuma didn't waste no time and took them off the map. But yeah, pretty much he asked around everywhere, but nobody knew what the disease was, which eventually led to Kuma crying because I mean he just want to see his daughter okay. Time passes on a little and it becomes daytime. Next thing you know, the Revolutionary Army pulls up on Kuma. We see younger Bello and Morley saying what's up to Kuma, and Bello was getting a bit too comfortable with my boy Kuma, sitting all on him and everything.
Eva and Inazuma was imprisoned. In all our time apart, you became a king, a tyrant, and a pirate.
Kuma was like he felt like a different person. Bello was like nobody in the Revolutionary Army will fall for that newspaper article. Then after that she asked Kuma can she be the captain of the Eastern Forces. Kuma tells her yeah, and then she started hopping away. But anyways, let's get straight to the point. Dragon wanted to talk to Kuma about Bonney because he actually found somebody that can actually help her out, and that person was no other than Dr. Vegapunk. So once he told Kuma that, you already know what Kuma went to go do. He went to go pick up Bonney and take her right there straight to Dr. Vegapunk. Once he did, he ends up showing Vegapunk Bonney, and Vegapunk says that she has sapphire scales. That's the name of the disease. Not only did he tell him what it was, he also said that he was able to cure it, which made both Kuma and Bonney delighted to hear that news. Vegapunk tells Kuma that he's going to create stem cells and transplant them, but to do so is going to require a lot of time and money. After doing some data on Kuma, he realized that he's a buccaneer. You see, Vegapunk wanted to make clones, but he wanted to find the right person to do that with. He told Kuma if he donate his blood and give him permission to create clone soldiers out of him, he won't have to pay for the crazy cost for Bonney procedure. Kuma tells him he won't decline that offer, but what he did wanted to know if the soldiers was gonna look like him and work for the Navy as well. Vegapunk basically tells him yeah, and I don't know why bro looking this goofy. He basically tells him that he's gonna make humans that can shoot laser beams out of their hands, and with Kuma body type they can be sturdy as hell and be used as shields and save the day just like heroes. With Kuma hearing that, he had no problem with it. Vegapunk calls Kuma a saint, and Kuma was like, a saint? Nah, I'm just a timid pacifist who want peace. Bro, just like me for real, I ain't gonna lie. Vegapunk liked that, so he said he'll use that as their name. Kizaru pulling up on both Vegapunk and Kuma, and the reason why he pulled up is because he was eavesdropping the whole time on their convo. Kizaru was like, hey, it's not good to negotiate with pirates. Vegapunk tells Kizaru to shut up, and he was like, I don't like that side of you. But Kizaru basically tells him, hey, it is what it is. As they show us Drake standing outside with the Vegeta tape line. Eventually Saturn calls and he was like, I don't care if Kuma gonna be a good ass soldier or not. He's a notorious pirate with a bounty of 296 million berries. The Navy would lose face if they use him as a clone soldier. But you see Vegapunk being Vegapunk, he was like, hey, I'm a scientist, I don't care if we lose face. Saturn even kind of agrees to a certain extent. He was like, if your plan do succeed, we will gain immense power. So with him liking that idea of gaining power, in order for Vegapunk plan to continue, he had to follow these additional conditions that he set. The first condition was that Kuma had to join the 7 warlord because Ace took out one of the other warlords recently. The second condition is Kuma will become the Navy's human weapon himself, meaning that Kuma must get his body modified. Kizaru was basically rage baiting, talking about some, oh, that's a good idea. Vegapunk was like, bro, shut your bitch ass up.
Shut the fuck up, bro. That's all look, just for once.
The third condition, and probably one of the cruelest one of them all, Kuma had to give up his mind and his free will, meaning that Kuma has to turn himself into a bot, ultimately killing himself. As y'all should know, Vegapunk was not rocking with this one bit, but Saturn was like, those are the 3 conditions. If you can't do that, we have no obligation to spend a fortune on a surgery to save some nameless girl. That's so fucked up, bro. And I get it that Kuma's supposed to be a so-called criminal, but like, damn, bro, you don't gotta do my boy like that. It gotta be something with the Buccaneers. Bro really hate them. That's what it really is. Vegapunk was struggling with this because he didn't want to become a murderer, but it got to a point that Kuma did not care about his life if it meant saving his daughter. He started crying, and bro, this shit was sad. He tells Vegapunk, thank you, I'll accept any fate as long as my daughter gets well. If Kuma ain't up there with top fathers in anime world history or something like that, bro, I don't know, because this man was doing anything for his daughter. So with that being said, it'll take a year and a half for Bonney to be able to go outside and be okay. And Kuma, on the other hand, it'll take 2 years for his modification to be done. But wait, hold up, if y'all thought that was bad, it gets even worse. Saturn tells Kuma, we will hold your daughter hostage, but once she gets better, you will no longer need to obey us. But here's the catch. After her surgeries, the government will hold her until Kuma loses all of his free will, bro. Meaning that he won't be able to see her ever again. That is so messed up. My boy can't even see his daughter healthy one last time. Once her surgeries are complete, he will be forbidden to contact her or escape. If he violates that rule, his daughter will be enslaved. Y'all know how fucked up that is, bro? That's all this man Kuma been hearing his whole life. Somebody becoming enslaved. This man is so bitch made to the core, it doesn't even make any sense. He don't even know how it feels to become a slave. And even if he did, he's still bitch made regardless. Kuma was like, alright bro, I won't see her, but as long as she can rest at Sorbet Kingdom where she grew up at, we good. Saturn responds by saying it doesn't matter as long as she getting watched. After that, Kuma leaves the room and he ends up meeting up with Bonney, basically telling her that they'll be here for 6 months. He also told her a lie and said that he had an illness, so he's getting tested. Poor Kuma, bro. But besides all of that, Bonney and Sentomaru was knocking it off nice. Well, at least Bonney was enjoying her time. Sentomaru found her annoying, but deep down bro knew he was having fun as well. Bonney wanted Sentomaru to play with her again, but Sentomaru was like, I don't have free time every day for you. Bonney ends up making this sad face and Sentomaru ends up giving in. See, I told y'all deep down he cares. Meanwhile, Kuma had all of these damn wires and stuff on him just getting tested and all that. This doesn't look right, man. Why my boy gotta go through this? We later on get some wholesome moments with Kuma and Bonney hanging out together as father and daughter. She even drew him a picture. They even had time to throw on a little party eating some big ass pizza. I'm not gonna lie, this shit is making me hungry right now. Bonney was like, Dad, let's do the thing. They started to do the Nika dance and eventually everybody tagged along. Sentomaru tried to act like he didn't really care, but then he hops in as well. This shit was just so, you know, it was heart touching. We fast forward 6 months later and it looks like Bonney made some really good progress. She's starting to get better. Vegapunk tells her she'll be cured in another year. While Kuma in the back over there just smiling happy, both Bonney and Kuma bid their farewell and ends up leaving. Once they make it back to Sorbet Kingdom, Bonney ends up breaking the news to them that she'll be better in a year. Everybody was so happy for her. Kuma tells Bonney that he won't be able to see her for over a year because he's a pirate and he don't want to cause this country trouble. But he will be able to send her some letters and stuff, so she was okay with that. That's when Alpha, an intelligent agent of CP8, came out of nowhere talking about some I'll take care of her. Basically saying that she'll give her all of the treatment she needs to stay on task to getting better. But by the look of that face, I don't think so. Even Bonney was looking at her like, what the fuck, get the hell off my face. They even built a mini temporary house by the church. She was like, until Bonney get fully cured, we can't let anybody suspicious see her. So that means everybody will always have to carry their ID. This slick motherfucker tells Kuma Kuma a child's neck, I could snap it just like that. You could tell Kuma had enough because he calmly responds back by saying, I know, I'll never come back. After that, he rubs Bonney on the head and tells her thank you for being born, then walks off telling everybody to take care. Kuma tried to keep a strong face as he walked off, but he couldn't hold it for much longer. Eventually, news spreads that Kuma became one of the 7 warlords of the sea, and we got to see a couple of people reaction to it. Like for example, Dofi. Men's talking about another bad guy has emerged. Nigga, you the bad guy here. Kuma ain't. Crocodile, my goat, did not care about none of that. They show us Mihawk, he just been nonchalant as ever. Elvita was talking about who's stronger, me or him. She get crickets for that dumbass question because ain't no way you think you're stronger than my boy Kuma. Forcing my other goat Kobe to lie. Next up we cut to the Whitebeard Pirates and we get to see our boy Ace for a little bit. But I'm not gonna lie, that's my least concern right now. Cause why the fuck this man Blackbeard got my boy Zoro drip? First we seen he did that with Luffy, now we see that he do that with Zoro. Technically it would be that he stole Zoro fit first because it's way before that time. Let's be honest, secretly Blackbeard is a straw hat, we just don't know yet. We see Boy she ain't give no fucks about it. Moria either. Nothing new with Dragon, he just stay looking east. Both Sabo and Koala reacts to the news as well. Also I can't forget Luffy running away from this tiger. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Next we got to 16-year-old Luffy using his battle axe, and I'm not gonna lie, the animation was clean. He had these animals scared for their life, while Kuma was over here spying looking at Dragon's son. Kuma remembered the time when he was talking to Dragon about this particular boy that he kept watching over, which was Luffy of course. But Dragon tells Kuma that he's gonna kill him if he keep talking about this. Not kill Kuma, but like kill himself, but not really actually kill himself. Y'all get what I mean.
Shut your
Dragon tells Kuma a child is their parents' weak spot. Kuma responds back by saying, I'm sorry, I'll just let it go. Next we cut back to Luffy saying that his Gum Gum battle axe will be his killer move, and how he'll use it to face truly powerful opponents. Kuma transponder Snell started a ring and Luffy went to go check it out, but by the time he went, it was nobody there. Then eventually Luffy shatters this big ass boulder into little pieces. Meanwhile, y'all know that call that Kuma got? Well, it's because a group of random pirates decided to attack a merchant ship. Kuma swoops in and saved the day, but he didn't even have to do anything because they surrender immediately. Next we cut to Kuma writing Bonney a letter. Basically he was saying how beautiful the world is, but you can't fully capture it in drawings and photos. He can't wait to see her face light up when she see it for herself. But speaking of Bonney, we cut to her and she was kind of pissed because she didn't see her father letters, and remember Kuma told her that he would send her a lot of letters. Connie tells Bonney to be patient, but it's nothing to be patient about because every time Kuma sends her a letter, Alpha grabs it and rips it up. That's the real reason why Bonney wasn't getting those letters, because this bitch ass motherfucker wanna hold him. You that cold-hearted that you don't want to see a father and daughter bond that bad? You could tell she probably never had a father in her life. Bonney was sick of this shit, so she tells Go-Go she wanted to fade real quick, and she started just letting off some steam fading this man. In the mix of her doing all of that, Alpha ends up popping in, and she noticed that Bonney turns into this big woman, but she don't really know if she was seeing things or not. But yeah, her whole purpose of coming was to give Bonney her little medicine. But it turns out that wasn't actually medicine, it was just bad tasting candy. You see how fucked up she is, bro? Shit wild. As we cut to Vegapunk and the others, and it seemed that Stussy pulled up on him. She was like, Kuma, I heard you're gonna lose your free will. A human without a free will or a clone with free will? Who has it worse? And if you didn't know, she was referring to her and Kuma. That's when Kuma asks, what does it mean to lose free will? Vegapunk's response to that was, no matter how much you claim to follow your orders now, could you, for example, kill a child if you was told to? In this research, the loss of free will means the loss of memories from living as a human in all human emotions. After Vegapunk was done with the examination, both Kuma and Stussy end up chopping it up. Stussy was telling Kuma he wasn't being honest with himself. You'll lose all of your memories and emotions. It's impossible to come to terms with that, especially if you have somebody important to you. Kuma just looks at her and smiles it off, but we all know you hurting, bro. Vegapunk ensures that Kuma will retain a minimum level of free will until he's fully complete, then proceeds to tell me he has roughly a year until then. After hearing that, he started to write down another letter to Bonney. Kuma was like, as long as I have time, I want to keep telling Bonney how much I love her. Over the next year, he's going to be writing down a whole lifetime worth of feelings towards her. Kuma is such a kind father. There's nobody like him. We cut back to Bonney and it seems to be her 9th birthday and they got her a big ass pizza, which like I said is making me hungry. But yeah, she was just enjoying her birthday with everybody, you know, just having a good time. Then once it became nighttime, she was looking for a letter, but guess what? It was nothing in there, which it made Bonney cry because she was really looking forward to seeing a letter after she just turned 9. You would think her dad would send her one, but we know the real reason why. Also, even Kuma being a part of the 7 warlord system, he still was helping out the revolutionary army, but he couldn't say a word. So he left without saying nothing. Cutting back to Bonney yet again. She ends up getting cured and she wanted to go outside now. But Alpha was like, no, we was told to take care of you until you turn 10 years old. But Bonney was like, oh hell no, you capping. Vegapunk told me I'm gonna get better in a year. And a year already passed. After that, Bonney tries to run outside, but Alpha grabs her arm and started squeezing it tight and tells her, well, that's too bad. Leaving a bruise on a little kid is crazy, bro. I'm convinced she's doing all of this for the girls' sake, dick, because ain't no way you should be hating on a little kid like this. But that's besides the point. Connie ends up giving Bonney the rundown, letting her know that that's not actually a real nurse. And she overheard her when she was drunk saying that Bonney was already cured. But not only that, she found it strange that Kuma wasn't sending a single letter. I wonder why. But in the end all be all, Connie ended up giving Bonney her hat. And y'all know how Bonney could turn herself, oh, she just gonna disguise herself as Connie so she can leave. Which she ends up eventually doing to go find her dad. Bonney could finally enjoy the wind, the grass, the ground, all of that. Which it was just so nice to see because now she's not cooped up in the church all day and can actually enjoy her life. So with Alpha being the hating person she is, she found out that she got tricked and she went sprinting immediately to try to stop Bonney from leaving. Bonney remembers herself asking Kuma what do Nika look like, but Kuma said nobody knows. That's what Bonney looks up in the sky and starts to smile. She then matures her body and jumps up in the sky very high using her distorted future and rocks the shit out of Alpha. She got rocked so hard they had to play it 3 different times. Yeah, how do it feel to get your ass beat by a 9-year-old? Sad, ain't it? But yeah, this is how it all started, how Bonney became a notorious pirate, even though she was really just setting sail to go find her dad. Basically with Bonney asking who is Nika, and Kuma tells her that is his hero. And Kuma also tells her this how you know when Nika coming through, and he started doing a little dance. After that, we cut to 2 years ago and we see Bonney trying to put her lipstick on, but as she was doing that, her crewmates was calling her by her real name instead of calling her captain. She didn't like that, so she started yelling at them, but really they were just trying to get her attention and tell her that Kuma is on his island. So once she heard that, she wasn't playing no game. She went immediately on the island, but she had to be careful because the Navy was there. So her and her crew made landfall and they started charging towards the Marines. Bonney wasted absolutely no time dashing full speed ahead towards them. She hops up in the air and does the Nika pose. I'm not gonna lie, it was clean. Then immediately after, she knocked the age out of them, turning them into a little kid and an old man.
What the dog doing?
Once she did that, they started asking around, did they see a big giant dude? The civilians tells them where they last seen him, but the whole time my boy Kuma was just chilling right here watching him. He was saying in his head, we must not meet Bonney, please understand, as he just vanished. Bonney and her crew ends up leaving the island and she was pissed because she was mad that she couldn't find her dad. She was like, why wasn't he there? Gilgil, or however you say his name, was like, since we're pirates now, we could take all our time looking for him. That's gonna be easier said than done because trying to find somebody that can legit pretty much teleport themselves off the island, I don't know. But anyway, Bonney tells them she's gonna go find Nika too, because if she find Nika, she know that her dad would be very happy if she break the news to him. Meanwhile, in the East Blue, my boy Luffy used his battle axe like he said he was gonna do, taking out Arlong and his crew like it wasn't nothing. I'm not gonna lie, looking back at it, Arlong and his crew was fodder. Hachin got beat by a Zoro that was already injured. Fish Karate dude had his chance to defeat Sanji inside his own domain, the water, but he folded. Dude with the long ass mouth got his shit whacked by Usopp with a hammer. And last but not least, Luffy was playing with Arlong the whole time until he got serious. But with that being said, after Luffy defeated Arlong, he got a 30 million bounty on his head. This how you know Luffy didn't give a fuck, because this man talking about some, yay, I got a bounty on my head. Bro, what? Why are you excited that you got a bounty on your head, bro? And don't think I don't see how y'all did my boy Usopp. Took the melanin right away from this man, just stripped it away. That's because the dragon telling Sabo that he's gonna go to Rogue Town. Ain't it supposed to be Log Town though? Why it changed it now? But yeah, people was clowning Dragon because they were saying he only went because Smoker was there. Other than that, he wouldn't went. Why y'all trying my boy? Ace was bragging to Jinbei that Luffy is his brother that defeated Arlong. And what makes this crazy is because Jinbei was kinda close to Arlong. Maybe not like in like a real close way, but they was still kinda like brothers for real. They was on the same crew. That's we cut to Kuma looking at both Luffy and Bonney wanted posters saying that Dragon, ain't this crazy? Both of our children became pirates. Now looking back at it, it made sense that both Luffy and Bonney was gonna connect eventually because both of their dads know each other. Next up, we got Bonney giving the iron code of conducts for pirates to her crew. She tells them, plunder what you wish. Then her little self say, only from bad guys. Don't help people. Then her little self say, avoid it if you can. Also, she put this little ring on her cheek so her dad can notice her. Not only that, she gonna make herself so famous that her dad have no choice but to notice her. We head back to Egghead and Vegapunk was telling Kuma that his clones and his modifications was going very smoothly. Also, Vegapunk asked Kuma did he hear about the kid that declared war against the world government. Kuma tells Vegapunk that that's Dragon's son. Vegapunk was shocked by that. Kuma also tells him coincidence or not, he also defies the government with his rubber powers, just like his hero, Nika. Meaning that Kuma sees Nika inside of Luffy. We cut to Luffy defeating Mordia, and right after that Kuma gets the order to annihilate the Straw Hats. But he was willing to let them go as long as they give him Luffy head. But we all know they wasn't going for that, leading Kuma to send a massive shockwave towards their way, completely wiping them out. But there was one person on the crew that stood on business, and that's my goat Zoro. He was like, take my head instead if you want a head, because after all, Luffy is the one that's going to be king of all Riz. So Kuma was like, alright, bet. If you want to take his place, take all of his pain and suffering onto yourself. And as Kuma was watching Zoro go through this, he said in his head, this would even knock me unconscious. So the fact that Zoro was willing to do all of this for his captain, no, his friend, proves to you how loyal he really is. Even Kuma himself said he has good companions. I should have expected no less from your son, Dragon. Later we soon see Kuma getting ready to make landfall on Sabaody, but he gets this call saying that he has to attend to Ace's execution, and they tell him it will be war with the Whitebeard pirates. He just tells them he'll be there. We then next see Bonney being a whole glutton, just eating everything up, while Kuma looking through the window because he was like, this the last time I'm gonna be able to see Bonney. Everybody over here looking at this man weird. I'm not gonna lie, I'll be the same way because look. But in the mix of him doing that, news spread that a celestial dragon just got clocked in the face. Kuma went to go check it out immediately to see who it was. He was like, whoever this is gotta be crazy, bro. And it's close to the Navy headquarters. At this point, bro just doesn't care about his life. So Kuma went to go check to see who it was, and he couldn't believe his eyes. It was the Straw Hats yet again. And what made this even more crazy is because he was saving a fishman and a mermaid. Kuma said to himself, this is probably an act of treason, but no one has ever managed to pull this off in centuries. Right after that, we cut to the time when Kuma made everybody in the Straw Hats vanish. And as Kuma was making all of the Straw Hats vanish, he said to himself, Dragon and Ivankov, forgive me for disappearing without saying a word. As a mark of my existence, I'll leave quietly behind Bonney and this boy's future, which he's referring to Luffy. And as Luffy crying on the ground saying he couldn't save any of his friends, Kuma says to himself, this is not true, but this is how tough the new world will be. You guys are not ready for it. Don't come yet, because you will someday save the world. So yeah, as we all know, Kuma did all of that just to prepare Luffy and them for the new world because he knew they wasn't ready for it yet. W Kuma, bro. Lastly, we cut back to Egghead and we hear Vegapunk saying, stop the Skruk switch. How much do you fear Kuma? He was saying that to Saturn, bitch ass. Saturn talking about some, you turn him into a deadly weapon. Vegapunk basically tells him that you people are at the top of the world. Why does that really matter? Saturn scary ass talking about some, but what if he go berserk when we out of command range? Who will stop him and how? Vegapunk tells him in exchange for installing that into him, let him keep a bit of free will. I invented a brain circuit that toggled between personalities. But Saturn was not going for it. He was like, I already gave you my orders. He ain't getting no free will. I'm a scientist myself. You cannot trick me. So you do all of the work then, bitch. Since you're a scientist. All he do is just sit around, drink tea or coffee all damn day. Vegapunk tried showing his concern for both Bonney and Kuma, but he just hung up on him. After that, Vegapunk walks in the room and Kuma tells him that he appreciates the sentiment. Vegapunk was surprised that he heard it, but Kuma tells him, who you think was the one that gave me super hearing? But besides all of that, today is the day that Kuma loses his free will. Vegapunk tells him, we only knew each other for 2 years, but we had a lot of fun. Kuma agrees. Vegapunk tells Kuma his first mission will be fighting against the Whitebeard pirates. Kuma asks Vegapunk to program him a mission to protect the Straw Hat ship. He said until one of their crew comes, he want to protect their home. I would not be able to see their growth anymore, but, and right before he was about to finish his sentence, Vegapunk stops him and asks him what is he expecting from this kid. Kuma simply says his action moved his soul. Nika is merely a legend, but I told Bonney, there's a warrior who will make everyone smile moving with the rhythm of liberation. If there is a hero who would change this world drastically, I believe it'll be him. A revolutionary betting on a pirate, you have chosen quite a dark horse. After that, Kuma gives Vegapunk a copy of his memories, and as he was getting ready to lose his free will, he looks at it and says, so this is my life, and asks himself how many people have I troubled as he relived his life one last time.
Follow me, I'm standing on the border of everything. Listen close, can you hear the spirits sing lost messages of long ago?
This touched the soul. It had me crying, bro. Like, I had tears coming out my eyes. Look how soulless this man became. So sad, man. And this right here was the memory that Bonney seen when she touched it. Now we know why she was crying the way how she was crying. This shit's so sad, bro. But yeah, that's the end of Kuma backstory, and that's gonna be the end of this video as well. Hopefully y'all enjoyed. I would say let me know y'all thoughts on this episode, but I already know y'all all feeling sad right now, bro. Like, come on, bro. Like, if you're not sad from watching this episode, bro, then I don't know. Also, I want to say I really do appreciate you guys for sticking through on the ride of me covering this whole Kuma backstory. It really does mean a lot. I love reading the comments and seeing what y'all think about Kuma backstory and all of that stuff. Pretty much we all felt the same way. But don't worry, out of all of this sadness, peak is coming through soon as we are heading back to the present time. But until then, make sure y'all follow my IG because I do let y'all know when I'm dropping a video and stuff like that. And sometimes YouTube be tripping. For some reason, they don't be giving y'all the notifications. So Instagram is a good way for y'all, you know, to like know when I'm dropping. Also, if you want to join my Discord, you can. And last but not least, make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Road to 70K. Let's get it.